was my reaction.
You should have gave more credits to it. That's why you.
I figures. You'll have to get in line, buddy. I've only got
Are you? Thank you. Oh, so you.
boy.
Okay. And you already started.
Yeah. Well, If you do want to speak, you're good. No, no, you're not supposed to check. I wanted to be sure. You're good. Find out for that.
We'll be
Yes. Barbara. From Skip. We did a on it. Her portion of it
Oh, okay.
all together. Yes.
The approach.
And then the other.
wasn't. Wasn't bad.
8 o'clock this morning and you're still.
Absolutely.
So
It was worth it though.
Shouldn't be. Great if we don't. Well, welcome to the Planning Commission meeting of September 14th, 2023. My name is Vern Crow, and I am the chairperson of the commission. The Planning Commission is a citizen body appointed by the City Council. The commission is empowered to make final decisions on certain matters, with those being appealable to the City Council. On other matters, the commission acts in an advisory role to the council, with the council making the final decision. You will have an opportunity to address the commission during the public hearing portion of the meeting. Your testimony is appreciated and encouraged. The commission acts from a written agenda. This evening's agenda item is a continuance from August 24th public hearing meeting. During the August public hearing, the commission received 72 speaker cards with 21 speakers in opposition. In summary, although not all inclusive, the opposition addressed concerns with crime, drug usage, property devaluating, proximity to residential property and privacy, along with road improvement. The commission received this testimony and will consider it as it evaluates whether to grant the conditional use permit. Therefore, folks, this evening, if you wish to speak on this item, the commission asks that you please limit your testimony to only new information that is prudent to the commission rendering a vote. You folks did a great job at the last meeting, putting forth your concerns, and we listened, everybody asked good questions, we took notes, and we're well prepared. If you get up and we start hearing the same thing, we're going to have to cut you off because we've already been down that road. But we appreciate you being here, and hopefully you might have some new information for us, I hope. So, you will need to fill out a yellow speaker card and give it to the city staff if you wish to speak on this item, which I'm sure that most, if all of you, haven't already done that. Copies of the agenda and the speaker cards are located on the table just inside the main door to the council chambers, but it's actually outside this door, which is to the Civic Center. There are 7 members appointed to the Planning Commission, and at this time, I will ask the commissioners to introduce themselves and state the district they are representing, starting from my far right.
John Crow, Mayoral District. Bomb Coal Barrel District.
Edwin Nyberg, Choya District.
Martin Novakowski, Yucca District.
And I am Vern Crow representing Cactus. And let it show that Commissioner Gears is ill and is out on excused absence. Commissioner Hooper is going to be here if he can. He might be a little late. The Planning Commission receives staff assistance and guidance from the Planning Division and the City Attorney's Office. Now, is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak on an item that is not on tonight's agenda? Okay, there are no minutes for approval this evening. Ms. Perry, are there any withdrawals or continuances this evening?
Good evening, Commissioners. Chairperson Crow, there are none for as continuance or withdrawals.
Thank you. Okay, the purpose of the public hearing is to provide interested parties an opportunity to present testimony for the Commissioner's consideration. We will follow the same procedures for each item. I will call the application number and the name of the applicant. Staff will present their report and answer questions from the Commission. The applicant will be given the opportunity to make a presentation and answer questions from the Commission. Other persons who wish to testify will be asked to do so and answer questions from the Commission. The applicant will have an opportunity for closing comments. Staff will be asked for any final comments on the application and procedural guidance. I will then close the public hearing and ask for a motion prior to any further discussion within the Commission. If you wish to speak on an item, you will need to state your name and address for the record. Please be brief and to the point and avoid repetition. I reserve the right to limit the length of the testimony to 2 minutes, but let me see what we've got here. Okay, we don't have 71 cards to speak, so I think we're going to extend that out to 3 minutes. All exhibits shown to the Commission become part of the permanent record and must be submitted for the file. Large groups should designate a spokesperson, and ladies and gentlemen, applause or other disruptions which will delay the hearing will not be tolerated this evening. We have one public hearing item this evening, which was continued from our last meeting. Our agenda item is case number CUP 23-04, which is the continuance item from August 24th public hearing. Mr. Lerma, he will provide an overview of the case for context and present new information. Welcome, Mr. Lerma.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the Commission. Most of the information that I'm going to be presenting is just going to be a type of a kind of a refresher, just to provide you a fresh consideration of this project. So. Again, this is a request for a conditional use permit for a hotel use in the planned area development zoning district. The applicant, Shane Alleman, representing Tiffany and Bosco on behalf of PAEW Investments. The project is located on the northwest corner of Camino San Javier and 73rd Avenue. It's approximately 7.5 miles on the northwest direction of City Hall. Again, this is a zoning map, just the property highlighted in yellow. The project, again, is part of the Arrowhead Town Center planned area development. Properties surrounding the subject property are also part of the Arrowhead Town Center PAD. The property is currently vacant. It's within the Saguaro district. It's approximately 1.9 acres in size. Surrounding properties are going to be a commercial office to the north, a shopping center to the south, and professional offices to the east and the west. The property has legal access along Camino San Javier. It's just a context plan indicating the current conditions of the site, that traffic signal or the traffic sign that's located there is going to be considered the southeast corner of the lot. Just to give you briefly a description of the proposal, the project is, as you see here on the development plan, there's one standalone building. It's approximately 17,590 square feet in size. It's proposed to be 3 stories high at a height of 33 feet. They're proposing to have 76 suites. Each suite is going to be approximately 500 square feet. Each suite will contain a living area, a bedroom area, and a kitchen area. Amenities to the project are going to be the main lobby, the lounge area, the common courtyard, fitness center, and on-site laundry facilities and vending machines. As shown on the site plan, there's 2 points of access. Both of them are going to be along Camino San Javier. The main point of access is going to be along the southeast corner of the property, and there's an existing private drive going north and south that also provides access to the commercial office to the north. The applicant, the on-site parking ratio, they're proposing to be 79 parking stalls are proposed. The zoning ordinance requires 76 parking stalls, so they're going to be a little bit over that. The applicant has completed the citizens outreach process. Staff does have at this point all communication that staff and the applicant received in regards to property owners that were either for or against the project. Some of the issues that the property owners brought up had to do with traffic and parking to the site, the safety issues, crime, privacy issues, and lighting on site. Those property owners that were for the project indicated that the use that's being proposed is compatible to the surrounding commercial uses. The staff analysis has remained the same. There's no modifications to the staff analysis or to staff's recommendation. Staff continues to provide a recommendation of approval for the case CUP 23-04 with the 5 stipulations that were indicated on the prior hearing date. What I would like to do now is just go over the memo that was received. The purpose of this memo serves as responses to questions that the Planning Commission brought up at the last hearing. One of the first questions that was brought up was in regards to Camino San Javier, and the question had to do with responsibility to the road maintenance of this street. So just keep in mind that Camino San Javier responsibility falls upon what actual street section we're talking about. As you see here within the aerial, you'll see that there's a section of it, one of the street, that a portion of the street section is highlighted in green, and that's to the east, and the west portion is highlighted in yellow. This serves as to identify what section is the city of Glendale is responsible for and what section is considered a private drive and is the responsibility of the property owners that share that private drive. So again, responsibility for street maintenance is going to fall upon the city of Glendale for the area that's in green. That's going to be along 73rd Avenue and Camino San Javier going eastbound. The westbound portion of it is considered a private drive, and there are 7 different property owners who are responsible for this street section or the private road within this area. There was, during the public comment portion of at the last meeting, one of the residents or several of the residents indicated that what's considered the private street area was, the condition was really poor. They indicated that there was potholes within this street section. Staff reached out to the transportation department. They are aware of the road conditions within the private road, and indicated that they have had continued discussions with the private property owners who have agreed to do the proper road maintenance or improvements to the potholes that are within this area. There is no completion date scheduled for this project. The second question had to do with if the city of Glendale had, or if Camino San Javier was included as part of the CIP or the city improvement projects. Again, having a discussion with the transportation department, they indicated that the area that's considered city right-of-way is not within the plans of the CIP projects in the near future. The last question had to do with the traffic barrier that's located within the secluded acres at the dead end of 73rd Avenue. As you can see on the aerial, it's where the yellow star is at. At a street view, this is what it looks like. Currently, there is a traffic barrier to prevent vehicles to going further southbound into the private property. The question had to do with if a private wall or barrier was to be located in replacement of this existing barrier, who would be responsible for locating that desired wall. The simple answer is it all depends, to be honest, of where it's located. But consideration of a block wall or the placement of the block wall, the transportation department will have the final say on it, and it will be, and then we'll have to also have some type of involvement from the private property owner to the south. He will have to accept financial responsibility for that area. It seems like a simple process, just replacing the existing physical barrier with a wall, but it's a little bit more complicated in nature. Once that physical barrier is removed and there's intentions of putting another barrier in place of that, what the transportation department is going to look at is going to be looking for opportunities to make that area fall in line with the current city requirements. In this case, this transportation department is going to ask for a full turnaround. In order to do that, the city would have to acquire additional property from the property owner to the south, and then beyond that, providing that block wall. There's several issues that go along with that, though. As you can see here, here's a plot plan for that private property that's directly south of that 73rd Avenue dead end. And as you can see, there are several easements that are conveyed on this on the northern portion of it and the western portion of that lot. There is a 25-foot roadway easement. This is a little sliver to the side, and along with that, there is a 30-foot equestrian trail that's conveyed to the north portion of the property, of the private property, along with a 20-foot bike easement. So, again, there would have to be it would have to be a situation where the transportation department and the private property owner would have to work in order to further extend that roadway into a full turnaround. Not only that, but then we're dealing with various easements that are within that area where the intended turnaround would be at, and there's by law, No physical barrier or no structure can be located within the easement area, which is gonna remain within that site. What I would like to do now is turn over to the Glendale PD in order for them to address the crime analysis that's also included within the memo.
Any questions so far for Mr. Lerma, commissioners? Thank you, sir. Come on.
I'm guessing the planning commission has had the opportunity to review the crime analysis, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commission members. I provided a crime analysis.
Could you have your name and address, please, sir?
Yes, sir. Ryan Horrell, and I am the Foothills Patrol Commander of the Glendale Police Department.
Welcome.
Thank you. I provided the commission some crime statistics in reference to the extended stay location at 7345 West Bell Road, as well as the extended stay at 8949 West Sweetwater. Now, both of those locations are in the city of Peoria. The city of Glendale does not have an extended stay per se. The calls for service that I provided to the commission over the course of 4 years up to 2020 at the 7345 West Bell Road location, that's fairly close to the proximity of the Arrowhead Mall. They had 352 calls for service since January of 2020. It's about an 8 call per month average. The top call location, or the top call types provided by the city of Peoria was welfare checks, follow-ups, trespass, domestic violence, and disorderly conduct type calls. The extended stay located at 8949 West Sweetwater had 483 calls in the same time frame. It was over a 10 call per month average. And those calls consisted of welfare checks, follow-ups, suspicious circumstances, domestic violence calls, and trespass. I did learn the extended stay located on the Bell Road address has 101 units, and the location at 89th Avenue in Sweetwater has 121 units. Again, the city of Glendale does not have any extended stays, so I was taking information from the closest extended stays in the city of Peoria.
Well, on this document that I've got, it says that Glendale borders the location and you guys do cross over on a rare occasion. I've got 1 welfare check, 1 domestic violence, 1 found property, 1 unknown trouble, 1 misdemeanor warrant, 1 speeding and racing, 1 suspicious vehicle, so on and so forth, 6 traffic stops, with a total of 16 calls. Over 5 years.
Mr. Chairman, those are the times that the Glendale Police Department had to respond specifically.
And it's really not your jurisdiction, but you do
Correct.
lap over once in a while. I get it.
It happens.
But I just wanted to throw that in the record because you covered Peoria quite well. Gentlemen, commissioners, anything for the officer? Commissioner Cole?
Thank you, Commander Horrell. Not to put you on the spot, but what's your general sense of the activity on Camino San Javier as it stands now? Is that a busy area? Do you have a sense that that generates a lot of call volume as it sits right now?
It doesn't generate a whole lot of calls for service. It is fairly remote. It is tucked in back behind some other commercial businesses. We do have patrol officers that go out there and take a look through that area as well on their regular patrols, but it generally doesn't, right now as it stands, produce a whole lot of calls for service.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Huber?
Issues that were brought up by members of the community at the last meeting. Would you define prostitution under a sex offense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, where would human trafficking fall on the spectrum?
In my mind, it would probably be in the same area of a sex offense,
Okay.
how they are investigated.
So with all the information that we were given here in 4 years with the multitude of units, there were 9 under sex offense. So in 9 years, or in 4 years with the multitude of units here, you had 9 offenses. So it sounds like human trafficking and prostitution aren't really an issue.
It's challenging to say based on the information that I have.
Based on the information brought up here, right?
Sure.
So, and on that end, I counted 1 homicide out of all this. So just put that on record.
Can I respond to that? Okay. The information that I got from the city of Peoria was just call information. It would take a forensic look at exactly what took place, because some of these could come out as a suspicious circumstance and then turn themselves into something more. Yeah. Understood.
Commissioners? Thank you, officer.
You're welcome.
Thank you
sir.
for your time.
Thank you very much, sir.
Mr. Lerma?
Chairman Crow, I have no other comments. I'm not sure.
Okay, I
if you
just
have
wanted to
any
make sure.
questions.
Okay, would the applicant or applicant's representative please come forward, state your name for the record, and provide any new information?
Good evening to the residents and to the commission. My name is Mike Dembski, and I'll try to keep this to 6 minutes. And thank you to the Glendale Police Department for the work provided and the information. The crime numbers that were presented are consistent with what we have presented in the last hearing. Even better, Stay EPT is much different than an Economy Extended Stay America location, and our crime numbers are considerably lower than them. Stay EPT has a strong track record of low crime, with only 5 police reports per year per location across the franchise. That is a similar result as the Marriott Residence Inn in Glendale, which is one of our local comparable hotels, and it's 360% better result than the Extended Stay America in Glendale and in Peoria. The challenge with some budget hotels is real, but it is completely unrelated to this project. There is a big difference in quality, security, facility cost, customer pricing, guest profile, and the resulting guest experience. We all saw the images in the last meeting, and there is a stark difference between Stay EPT and economy hotels. Our room sizes are 500 square feet, which is 67% larger than economy, which is a whopping $75,000 in additional cost to build per room. We have amenities that are beautiful, such as an open-air courtyard, grill station, and a fire pit. None of that is applicable in the budget or economy hotels, and all of these features listed here on the slide have led to an average daily rate of $166 per night with tax, which is 65% higher than economy, and has led to industry-leading guest ratings of 4.4 out of 5.0 compared to budget hotels that are rated in the 2s and economy hotels that are rated well below in the 3s. The parcel is zoned C2, general commercial, and hotel use is permitted. It's in a busy commercial district, 1 block from the mall and 1 block off Bell Road. We're surrounded by all of our guests' needs, including shopping, dining, and entertainment. The building and use meet all of the CUP requirements, and we are not requesting any variances. In fact, we offered stipulations beyond the requirements, eliminating sightlines to the neighborhood. Our upper middle class clientele results in low crime. We have better guest rooms. We have better guest rooms than many high-end hotel brands. Our 500 square foot rooms have a dedicated living room, full kitchen, and separate bedroom. We have a high project cost per room of $190,000 or $380 per square foot. This is a very nice property, and the high quality attracts well-respected guests. Describing our customers as transients, squatters, and criminals is inaccurate and offensive. Our guests include healthcare providers that assist sick patients in hospitals, military families that protect our country, professionals who support local businesses, students and their visiting families who attend local universities to educate themselves, and leisure travelers, including snowbirds and families that are bringing their children to local baseball games. These well-respected guests help the community to be healthy and prosperous. Our security measures result in low crime. The building is a 24-hour secure facility with a key required to enter. Our general manager lives on site, providing additional oversight. We have security cameras throughout, directly connected to the police department. Also have a private and secure community courtyard. These industry-leading security measures are significant crime deterrents. The bad element of society specifically avoids places such as our business, where they have no public access, are being watched by management, and recorded by the police. We have a strong track record of support from local entities and communities. Every state APT entitlement request across the country has been approved, which includes over 40 locations. They have been supported by every chamber of commerce across the country as well, including the Glendale Chamber. Our high price point and excellent ratings also result in low crime. The local comparable hotels include the Hampton Inn, Holiday Inn, Comfort Suites, Residence Inn, and the Spring Hill Suites. They have an average rating of 4.1 and collected an average daily rate of $166 over the past 12 months. We have higher quality rooms and higher brand ratings and can charge a premium to those hotels. This price point attracts an upper middle class clientele, resulting in a history of low crime across the franchise. With an average brand rating of 4.4, we expect Stay APT Glendale to be the highest rated hotel in the entire local area. In closing, we have a strong history of low crime with only 5 police reports per year per location across the franchise. We are a safe, highly rated business. Unfortunately, comments to the contrary are not supported by the facts and are slanderous to my family, the franchise, and our guests. The crime statistics we have presented at every meeting are directly from police and records departments. Our high quality finishes, our high price point, the well-respected guests, and industry-leading security has resulted in a strong history of low crime and high industry ratings. Thank you.
Commissioners? Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Okay, for those of you that came in a little bit late that want to speak, I've got 14 speaker cards, and what we're going to entertain tonight from the speakers is anything that you have to say that is in addition or anything that's new beyond what you said last time. If it's a duplicate of what we've heard and took notes on, we still have a mound of documents here that we took notes from last meeting, we'll have to cut you off, but we're more than happy to hear anything that's new. With your indulgence, before we go to the actual speakers, I would like to read for the record the speaker cards that have marked they don't want to speak, but they do oppose this application. All of these are opposed. Gail TeWalt at 17601 North 73rd Avenue. And I beg your pardon if I mispronounce your name. Debbie Tillman at 7231 West St. Joan. Cynthia Cowan, 7241 West St. John. Steve Cowan, 7241 West St. John. Todd Van Driel, 7251 West St. John. Stacy Van Driel, 7251 West St. John. Michael Ruff, 7125 West John Cabot. The last name is King, 7720 West Wagoner Road. Raleigh Crandall, 7331 West Angela. Sergio Vasquez, looks like 19141 North 75th Drive. It could be 11142 or 19142 North 75th Drive. Carol Baird, 19149 North 75th Drive. Monica Manning, 7211 West Grovers. Kelly Sullins, 7539 West John Cabot. Don James, 7439 West Union Hills. Paula Prather, 7319 West Angela. Linda Thyme, 7339 West Union Hills. Nancy Dunshee, 6905 West McKnight Loop, I think. Daniel Dunshee, 6905 West McKnight Loop. Sam Dubois, 7315 West Villa Rita Drive. Frank Dunshee, 7304 West Villa Rita. Glenda Dunshee, 7304 West Villa Rita. Edward Beckman, 7544 West Libby. Jessica Contreras, 7241 West John Cabot. Mike Crawford, 73 Avenue and Bluefield. James Contreras, 7241 West John Cabot. Thomas McCullough, 7327 West Union Hills. Mary Villagrana, 7327 West Union Hills. Okay, the first speaker card is Greg Cole, and I noticed the second speaker card is Aaron Cole. Greg, where are you? Would you like to just give your 3 minutes to Aaron? Okay, Aaron, you have the floor.
Good evening. For formality, my name's Erin Cole and I live in Secluded Acres. Two things I want to address that I didn't have planned. Regarding the staff report, there is one man that wrote 2 emails. It's not multiple men in support of this project, so I just wanted to clear that up. Secondly, the Glendale 1 response that I've put in other neighbors regarding the street, we were told that the city is not going to intervene in that. So I don't know what information that the citizens aren't getting that staff is getting, but we would like to be privy to that if and when the time comes. Thirdly, every single piece of data that I've given and the peer-reviewed article in the APA format that I supplied is meta-analyses and published record. It's not slanderous. It's not intended to be so. It's factual data. So back to what I was going to say. I want to go on the record and thank Glendale and Peoria Police Departments for providing the requested report and data and in time for tonight. Several of the commissioners requested this due to the many concerns that have expressed about anticipated crime impact of state APT. We've reviewed the report from Glendale and Peoria PDs and are very concerned about the statistics, including the number of assaults, sex offenses, thefts, and other serious crimes. But more concerning is the fact that both hotels had over 200 calls for service in the last 4 years. That's an unacceptable amount of calls. That puts police and fire departments with already limited resources having to respond to a brand new facility. Why would we want to add that burden? What's not included in any of this data is anything from the medical examiner's office. As a former employee of the medical examiner, I can go on the record and attest to the horrors inside the walls in the hotels of extended stays in our county. With regard to that, to PD reporting, if PD is called to assist medical or a welfare check, and then the subject is transported to my ER and later expires in my facility, the violent or suspicious death is reported at the hospital. It's not the location of the scene. So all the illegal activity that happened, the sale and purchase of the drugs or whatever it may have been, is a separate incident. And then the death occurs at our place. So I think that we need to consider that overdoses and suspicious calls might be something that the ME should have been contacted. And I just wanted to add that. Stay APT has continually dismissed our concerns by stating they're not a budget hotel. They have specifically rejected being compared to Extended Stay America, showing off the photos that contrast their furnishings and fixtures. However, those interior decorations have zero to do with our crime concerns. The reality is that the police report directly compares Extended Stay and other brand hotels because they are, in fact, comparable hotels from a crime perspective. With that, did you know that any hotel can operate as an extended stay? The applicant provided that education to the citizens, and that should be of note to the commission. I also want to point out that these aren't just numbers. These are victims in our community. As an ER nurse, I know firsthand the tolls of these crimes on the victims, as do the other first responders in this room. Their lives are forever changed through no fault of their own, and I refuse to see my friends and neighbors put at risk so that the city can make some extra tax dollars. To put it bluntly, we don't want this crime to be put in our backyard because of a permit approval. To use the language that is specific to Glendale Zoning Code 3904-2, Stay APT permit is materially detrimental to the health, safety, and general welfare of persons residing or working in the neighborhood, and therefore it cannot be approved. We know that this section of zoning is extremely important because the commission is required to make 5 separate findings before they can approve a CUP. If any one of these findings is not met by an application, then the permit must be denied. In the time since the last meeting, I hope that you guys have had the opportunity to review the 413-page citizen comment file. We have identified and documented how Stay APT has failed to meet each of these 5 findings. We've provided countless pages of data and statistics from our own research, along with testimonials from longtime residents in our community. I want to be sure to mention our petition. I didn't do that last time. Guys, hold up those posters. That's over 660 people asking you to please vote no. Please. All of these efforts have come to a cost of all of us personally. Our time, energy, and frankly, our sanity dealing with this process. None of us wants to do this. None of us wants to spend our evenings here away from our families or leave work early. We're here to stand together against this abomination. I will close the same way I did at the previous hearing. There are 40 other pieces of vacant land for sale in Glendale. We're not opposed to Stay APT. We're opposed to it in our backyards. Thank you.
Helena Johnson Bodine.
Greetings, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Helena Johnson Bodine. My address is 19142 North 75th Drive, and I am opposed to the CUP 23-04. I'm here tonight to support my neighboring community. I am very concerned about the public safety risk this property will bring to all of us in Arrowhead area, I should say. I'm the president of our homeowners association, Arrowhead Ranch Phase 2, which has 1,205 homes between Union Hills and the 101 freeway across from Arrowhead Elementary School on 75th Avenue. Long before I heard of this proposed development, I started working on a blanket trespassing project for all of our common areas, which files us with the City of Glendale Police Department. Just 2 days ago, on my morning walk around our neighborhood, a homeless woman was passed out cold on Union Hills and 75th Avenue with several stacks of luggage and a shopping cart. This is just one of many incidents that are slowly happening more and more. We have complaints of trespassers at our lakes almost daily, which prompted our blanket trespass program. I heard one of the commissioners at last month's hearing state that there are no transients or homeless issues in this part of North Glendale. I invite this commissioner and everyone watching and listening to volunteer in your own communities to get a firsthand look at the challenges that we face with homelessness and crime. And I ask you, what benefit is it to the city if the tax money generated by this hotel is outweighed by the cost of police and fire resources to respond to these calls? Have any of you walked around this area at length and observed it with detail? This is a quiet neighborhood and a quiet business park. The Stay APT Hotel does not fit what has already been developed here. The hours of operation alone are going to change this area dramatically. I say to this developer, to the city staff, and to the commission, having the right to do something does not make it the right thing to do. Commissioners, you are in serving positions. Do the right thing. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, do I need to remind you, we're not going there again? Let's don't do that. We're all adults here. We understand your position, but let's have a little decorum. Jamie Kelly? I'm sorry? Is it another speaker? What's the last name? Okay. In fans and Michael? Okay. Michael?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Michael Infans, and I am a resident of Glendale, but I'm here as the managing partner for Epic Policy Group, representing Glendale United, a group of citizens for the city of Glendale. The proposed conditional use permit for the modern Stay APT in Glendale Saguaro District has garnered significant attention. While the Planning Commission staff recommends its approval, citing compliance with the envisioned Glendale 2040 general plan, this policy analysis that you have in front of you that I gave you presents the counter arguments for it. One of the foremost concerns is the potential for increased traffic, noise, pollution, and crime in the Saguaro District. While the proposal has been advanced with a site plan to address some of these issues, it really doesn't delve into it a whole lot. And I'm not going to take a lot of time with crime rate statistics that we dropped last time. And I thank Ms. Cole for pointing out a lot of the facts that she did. One of the things that really perturbed me on two different levels. Number one, the statement that 9 incidents of human trafficking is not really that many. Isn't just one too many? Just one. And we shouldn't have that in the city of Glendale, number one. As far as the homelessness issue, Your Valley Net came out recently in a 2022 pit count. It represented a 139% increase from the year before. 139% increase in the city of Glendale. But homelessness is not a problem, is it, in the city of Glendale? While the prospect of job creation is alluring, there exists a very real possibility that the hotel may cannibalize revenues from existing businesses. Why are we taking a possible revenue away from existing businesses and giving it to somebody else? It's diluting the overall economic benefit to our city. Nothing has ever been addressed for the increased police presence that's needed, the fire presence that's needed, and what it's going to do to impact our city budget. Another issue that should give pause to the impact is construction and subsequent hotel operations on the local environment. We have never addressed the environmental impact, which is a big part of the Envision Glendale 2040. It also sets guidelines. The reliance on the Envision Glendale 2040 general plan as a reason for approval raises concerns about the extent which generally reflects on the current needs and desires of the community. And as you've seen, this community doesn't want this. While the proposal for Modern Stay may have its merits at the present location that they're trying to put it in, should be a no-go. It's crucial for the Planning Commission and the City Council to consider all these factors in depth before rendering a decision on this. And with that, I'm available for any questions from the council.
Commissioners?
Thank you.
Commissioner Hooper?
So in light of what you said about the 9 instances of sexual assault, as somebody who works in social work, I'm not saying that that's okay. I'm simply highlighting a fact from the information that we have. I deal with these people, I deal with these kids, I see what it does. So believe me, 1 instance is too many. I get that. That's all I have to say about it.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Hooper, then maybe you should amend your statement. Thank you.
Commissioners? Pam Ray?
Hi, I'm Pam Ray. I live at 7305 West Angela Drive. I am 260 feet south of the proposed site. I'm trying to have to change up some of what I had planned to say since you don't want total repeats. But I want to first focus the data. The hotel on Bell is only a quarter of a mile south of the proposed site. 2 calls per week, with 1 being criminal. I can't imagine why we'd want to double that. I know Mike said his hotel is different because they're upscale. Upscale, new, call it what you want, but let's remember what he also said. They have an app that lets you book a room electronically, provide credit card payment, and you get your room key electronically. 100% contactless booking and checking in. No ID validation is needed. I'm not even sure how they'll know who's in their building. They have the general manager living on site. Well, I'm not sure how that's going to deter crime. They don't even have a clerk at the desk 24/7. I appreciate the information from the police department. I also know that I couldn't find another hotel. Of those hotels that he's looked at, not one of them is within 260 feet of a neighborhood. I couldn't find one in Arizona that is. It doesn't make sense for the city to approve a project that will increase crime anywhere. Putting it so close to a neighborhood is even worse. The data from Chief Briggs, he noted, based on his experience, good management, good business practices, reduce crime and calls for service at these types of locations. Any reasonable person would agree that contactless entry without having to check in and provide ID and no one at the front desk 24/7 is not a good business practice to prevent crime. If the statistics aren't enough for you to worry about, certainly keep in mind it only takes 1 for the city and owner to be held accountable. If this project is approved, I believe Glendale is exposing itself to financial liability because they have the data and are knowingly approving it being built so close to a neighborhood that it will decrease property values and increase crime. Thank you.
Commissioners, anything? Thank you, ma'am. Kara Lee Ruff?
Good evening, and thank you again for listening to all of our concerns. I spoke last time, so I'm not going to repeat anything. I just wanted to mention that I don't know if any of you have even driven through the area where the planned site is proposed. Has anyone even driven in that area just to get an idea of what it is? You have? Okay. Okay, so when you drive through that neighborhood, as I went home the other day and kind of went by it again to see how out of place is a 3-story apartment hotel going to be in that area, tucked away from the streets, from the other businesses that we don't want to add any more crime to our neighborhood. And we understand that, you know, it's an economic positive for Glendale to have another hotel in their neighborhood, but it just seems kind of out of place to just put something like that in that small area that has business owners, business condos, 9 to 5 businesses. It just doesn't make sense. And I just wanted to know if anybody had driven in there, so I appreciate that some of you have done that. Thank you.
Thank you. Deanne Midkiff?
Good evening. Yeah, my name's Diane Midkiff. My address is 7508 West Tonto Drive in Glendale. I've lived there since 1990. That makes 33 years. I've seen a lot of changes in those 33 years, and this is not the first time that I have heard the terms upscale, quality property, great guest profile, high price point, upper middle class clientele. I have also been a teacher in Deer Valley Unified School District since 1995. There have been apartments that were built quite a few years ago west of Arrowhead Mall between Union Hills and Bell Road. When those apartments were proposed, the school district, Arrowhead Elementary, was concerned that it would bring a different demographic in and that it would overcrowd the school. We, the school district, were assured, oh no, these are high-class luxury apartments. They are priced too high for families with children. This will not impact your school at all. At that point, Arrowhead Elementary had 1 or 2 students on a free and reduced lunch program. Today, they are 40% or more Title I, which means that 40% or more of their families are either 130% above the poverty line or 185% for free or reduced lunch. So we went from being 1 or 2 students to almost 50% of the enrollment. Other changes I've seen in the community, increased drug traffic. You could walk down Union Hills. People have found drugs. Children are subjected to this. I apologize. I didn't come planning to speak tonight, so my comments are just kind of helter-skelter. Since those apartments have gone into, there have been more gun incidents at the mall, which have ended in chases that have ended at the apartments. That's been at least, I don't know, I can think of 2 or 3 times. I was actually in the mall one time myself when we had a gun threat. Not a fun thing, I can tell you. Also, around this whole area, there are a lot of hiking, biking, walking trails that I used to like going on. Had 5 kids, I used to bike on them, rollerblade on them. It has gotten to the point now where I'm afraid for myself or anyone to go there because according to the Glendale policeman who's spoken at our HOA meetings, there are homeless felons camping out in this wash area. There are trailheads all around the Secluded Acres area. I don't live in that area, I just live a little up north. But it's like a 60-second walk on one of these trailheads to get from Union Hills to Bell. So it's impacting a lot of the quality of life already. People used to walk dogs, ride bikes. Like I said, the kids would hop on these trails and go across communities to get to their friends. This is only going to get worse if this goes in, and it's a concern for me as a longtime resident. Thank you. Any questions for anyone? No?
Thank you,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Last name Marshman? Come up and tell me here at the podium. So you're declining to speak? Okay. And is the first name, what is the first name? Joan, I'm sorry. Joan Marshman declines to speak. And she's opposed. Sherry Alexander. Okay, Sherry Alexander opposes the application and she is also declining to speak. Larry Alexander. Same, okay. Larry Alexander opposes the application and declines to speak. Aaron Getting?
My name is Erin Getting, and I live at 7421 West John Cabot. My husband is an active state trooper with the Department of Public Safety, and we chose this neighborhood and are happy in this neighborhood because it is quiet and does not have a straight way through to Bell or to 67th Avenue. Our house is on a short street that makes a T-stop into two other streets. Just in those two streets, we have 2 retired and 4 active first responders. I don't know what the rest of our neighborhood looks like in those terms, but I know there are others within our neighborhood. I have looked at the hotels within about a 2-mile radius of the proposed location, as well as down near the football stadium. None of these locations have residential areas literally a stone's throw away. Marriott Residence is near, that was brought up by the applicant, is near the football stadium and is one of around 10 hotels, and they are not near residential areas. Extended Stay America at 7345 West Bell is in a business area not directly accessible to residential areas. Residence Inn, La Quinta, Hampton, and Comfort Suites, those are all in P83, which is an entertainment district, not residential. Comfort Inn at 57th and Bell is well surrounded by other businesses, not near a neighborhood. Spring Hill Suites and Hotel Serene, mall area, not residential. To try to compare crime rates with hotels not in residential areas is disingenuous because they are not the same scenario. We live in a quiet neighborhood, and we really don't get people from outside of the neighborhood that walk through, daytime or nighttime, despite there being open access to the horse trail. Businesses in the area almost all close by 9, and there are no other hotels in this area, so anybody in the business area after hours would be suspect. Bringing in a hotel this close to a residential area definitely would muddy the waters to try to determine who should and who should not be there. Even if every customer staying at the hotel is legitimate, it makes it a lot easier for people who do not live in the neighborhood to start scoping the area for crime. Lastly, as my husband brought up in my last discussion with him, what's to prevent the applicant from later requesting access to be opened up on 73rd Avenue? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes the speaker cards. what is your name, sir? Crandall? I did see that somewhere. Isn't that one of the ones that I read into the record? Raleigh, okay. Raleigh, I've got. Don't have it. Could you go ahead and fill one out, please? Tawanda, do you have any cards? Would you mind filling out another one? I'm sorry. The card, if you could, sir. And sir, would you do the same, please? Okay, we're going to just have a moment pause here for two speakers to fill their cards out for the record. Mr. Crandall, why don't you come up and go ahead and speak, and then when you're done, you can fill your card out and give it to Tawanda. And by then, this gentleman should have his card filled out. Very welcome.
My name is Skip Crandall. I live at 7331 West Angela Lane, directly behind where the proposed commercial hotel is going to be built. I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight. I really appreciate the commission and the requirement to get the police department backs in front of us. I don't know if I'm remembering it wrong, but last time someone said that there was 0 crime associated with it, unless I'm remembering things wrong. And so to have the facts laid bare about the criminal activity and the police calls is really valuable, so I appreciate that. When taking that into consideration, I'd like to call in some new information that we kind of learned along the way, which is we talked about traffic, and we talked about the fact that there is no sidewalk access, for example, directly to Arrowhead Mall. You have to walk down a dark street to get there, or if you want to get there in a safe manner, there's only one way to go, and that's 200 feet north to the trail behind our homes and right next to Aaron Cole's front yard to get over to Arrowhead Mall across a crosswalk. So now that we understand the crime associated with this type of place as presented by the police department, now we know that traffic from this hotel is going to be led towards the neighborhood in order to safely get to Arrowhead Mall. Even if sidewalks were intended to be built to get to Arrowhead Mall, there is no place for them to be built because of the existing development. So that's a real issue. In addition to that, there were comments about potentially putting up a wall by city staff and all the challenges associated with that. I'd like to call out the biggest issue with that is the sole access from the neighborhood to the equestrian trail and the walking trail. There is no blocking that off from the neighborhood, otherwise they would not have access to the trail system at all. Those are the facts that I wanted to call out. The last one being, the developer mentioned it's an insult to him and his family regarding the facts that we're putting out and us being against this development. It's an insult to me and my family as a family man that we're expected not to fight this and as a good neighbor. And I looked up extended stay hotel in San Antonio, the nearest location to Phoenix, right before the meeting. It's $101 a night on a nightly rate. So when we repeatedly hear we're not them, let's once again just look at the facts, just as we've looked at the facts of the police reports. I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Mr. Crandall. Okay, I have another card that opposes the application that does not wish to speak, Lynn Tibbetts. I have a speaker card for Barry Prather. Gee, I actually, it's good to see you.
Yeah, so fun. They called me up the next day and go, oh, by the way, sorry.
Gee, we're sorry. Okay.
Barry Prather, 7319 West Angela Drive. I noticed a lot of people already said a lot of the things I've already said. Now, there's one thing that's kind of interesting. It's kind of like what happens once the VAI hotel down the street opens up in 2024. Right now, they're trying to tell us that there's a lack of hotel rooms in the area. That drive down to Arrowhead is 8 to 10 minutes drive. That's like nothing in the Glendale area. That's normal driving. That hotel is going to add 1,200 rooms into the Glendale market. That equals over 15 of these hotels. So even that you're talking about a luxury hotel and everything else, competition does drive and change the price. So you might want to say, I can get 166 a night on average, but that may not be a reality. The Point Tapatio, you know one thing, that's a pretty well-known resort. They had rates down to $73 this year. So there again, are you really believing that an extended stay hotel is going to be able to say that it's going to have the quality that is in like a restaurant, like a hotel like Point Tapatio Cliff? A lot more history, a lot more things. So I just really fear that that hotel is going to create the possibility of pricing wars, which I went and visited the Extended Stay America, and I talked to a very nice person. They had worked at that Extended Stay America for 22 years. And she says, you know what, when we have the Super Bowl, when we have like the sporting stuff or the baseball, she goes, it's wonderful. It's great. She goes, we have really nice customers and all that. But during the summertime, when we have to drop down the rates, they don't report every crime. They deal with a lot of it themselves. She goes, we get tons of drugs problems, we have homeless, and we have other issues. And she goes, that's when it's not fun. So I'm just afraid that we're going to have that hotel open up, flood the market, and Michael is not going to be able to get the rate he expects because that's 15 of his hotels opening. So just a concern I have. I just think we're now going to have an overserved market. So, thank you.
Commissioners?
Because I know that's had changed hands twice. It's been delayed at least 3 times. And it's coming up for a vote, I believe. I'm not quite sure. I saw something in the paper like that, but just a concern.
Well, thank you, Barry, and it is nice to see you.
Okay. You have a great day.
Gail DeWalt.
Hi, I apologize for the shades. I just had eye surgery.
Oh,
Yeah.
no problem.
Okay, I'll try not to repeat anything. There's been some talk of crime statistics. The FBI says 29.5% of adults in this country have a criminal record. According to Tech Jury, that number jumps to 33% for 2023. Only 19% of property crimes ever get solved. And that number does go up for violent crimes, but not a whole lot. 52.6% of violent crimes go unreported. So the crime stats that we heard here don't really cover everything. As to the crime itself, when you're looking at statistics, I thought I'd put a little personal face on it. I have an adult daughter now when she's mentally ill and cognitively disabled. Shortly after her 18th birthday, my dad had just died. I wasn't probably my normal attentive self. She asked if she could take our dog for a walk around the block. Except she didn't go around the block. She went to the McDonald's on 75th Ave and Bell Road, where a 37-year-old man picked her up and took her to the extended stay apartments and raped her. And she is still suffering from that, and so am I. There's people involved with these crimes. They're not just statistics. Last meeting you guys talked about, one of you mentioned, aren't there any people walking down that street from over there? I actually took some pictures. I don't know if somebody would like to hand them to you so that you can see from Camino San Javier, you cannot really see the access to our neighborhood. And I wrote down some of the people that do walk in our neighborhood because I'm one of only 3 homes that face 73rd Avenue between the dead end and Union Hills. I'm the 4th house up. Here's who walks by. We get some salespeople, solar mostly. Not too often. We get CenturyLink occasionally selling. We get landscapers offering their services. And we get Jehovah Witnesses. None of them come too often because the properties are really large, half acre, and when it's 115 degrees, people don't really want to walk door to door in our neighborhood. The other people that I see walking are residents with their kids in strollers, or maybe their kids are learning to ride bikes. There's a couple people that I see regularly walking through there, including a fellow that comes down from Union Hills, goes all the way down 73rd, loops around on Angela, goes back up 75th. I know that because I drop my kids off at 2 different locations, and I've seen them coming, I've seen them going. Guess that's the other thing, is you see people walking their dogs. So no, we don't get a whole lot of people in our neighborhood that aren't from there. I guess I should have mentioned my address is 17601 North 73rd Avenue. I've been there 20 years this December. And I don't know if I will last if this goes through, because the anxiety level, which some of us are feeling, is very real. Let's see if I have anything else in here that I missed. Oh. There was some mention of all the good people that are going to live there. And the assumption is that if people have enough money, they're not criminals. I think I'd like to mention one name here, Robert Fisher. Some of you might remember him. He's a guy that didn't show up at his job for the Mayo Clinic 20 years ago, and that's because he had murdered his wife and his 2 kids, and he blew up the house to cover up the evidence. Doesn't matter if you have a good job or you're a professional person. It doesn't mean you can't be a criminal, and it doesn't mean you can't be a violent criminal. I don't want to see this happen to our neighborhood. I feel that whatever income you might generate from that hotel and taxes, you're going to lose when the property values drop down around there. 2 houses in that neighborhood just sold for over $1 million. Many of the homes are well over $500,000 now, and you get up to Arrowhead and it's even higher. The comparables are going to drag everything down in that area. And I think it'll be a net loss financially and certainly for our safety. I know that there's other areas that have more crime. Sorry about that, didn't see. I did want to mention that. That's where I came from, one of those low-income, high-crime neighborhoods. When I moved in, my cousin, the cop, called me and said, "What the hell do you want to live down there for? Nothing but gunshots and sirens all night." But I miss that neighborhood dearly. Thank you.
Okay. Would the applicant or applicant's representative like to make any closing remarks?
Hi, could we put one of our slides back up, please? I just want to say that we appreciate the residents coming out, and I respect, all of your concerns. I feel that Hidden Manor and Secluded Acres are very safe neighborhoods, and I feel that our Stay APT location is a safe location as well too. On average, the Stay APT locations average 5 police reports per year across the franchise. That's less than, it's 1 every other month. Those are very low results. Hidden Manor and Secluded Acres have similar results. So on average, there was 18 police reports per year in the 2 neighborhoods. And those neighborhoods have about 4 times the size of the number of rooms that are in our hotel. I know it's difficult to compare the 2, but we're just trying to present as much factual information that we get from the police departments as well. So I feel that, our hotel has residential type, type of crime. We have the logs of the reports as well too that we're happy to share and put into the record. And the types of crimes that occur in the neighborhood are very similar to the types of crimes that occur at the hotel as well. Just in closing, we're not a budget hotel, and we're not what we're being characterized as. We're a safe, highly rated business with very low crime. The building and use meet all the CUP requirements, and we're not requesting any variances. Just wanted to thank you for your time and respectfully request your approval today.
Commissioners? Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Okay, the public hearing for case number CUP 23-04 is now closed. Do I hear a motion?
Chair.
Commissioner Crowe?
I recommend approval of CUP 23-04 contingent on the stipulations in the staff report.
Do I hear a second? Gentlemen, second? Anybody? Looks like it's going to die for lack of a second. Mr. Gruber?
Chair, members of the commission, Chair, you are correct. The motion fails for lack of a second.
You want to say something? Mr.
Chair,
Gruber?
Chair, members of the commission, Chair, at this time, you are welcome to ask for an alternative motion or to invite the commissioners to discuss the matter and explore a motion following the discussion.
Yeah, commissioners, we've had a lot of input here and a lot of things to think about. Does anybody have any further comments or discussions?
Mr. Chair,
Vice Chair?
I would move that application CUP 23-04 be denied.
Okay, we have a motion for denial. Do I have a second?
Chair, I'll second
Commissioner Hooper?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to deny case CUP 23-04. I will now conduct a roll call vote starting from my far right. Commissioner
Mr. Chair, point of order.
Commissioner Cole?
Is it appropriate to open that up for discussion before the vote?
Sure. Go ahead.
This is what makes serving on the Planning Commission a thankless job. I believe myself that Mr. Dembski is a quality applicant. We've heard plenty of applications through Tiffany and Bosco. Mr. Alleman's always been professional and presented his case in a straight up fashion. I think this project is a well thought out project for the building itself and the type of business that it is. I personally just have a lot of concerns about the location. I just don't think it's a good fit based on a number of factors. It's obviously wildly unpopular with the neighbors, but beyond that, it's not a very walkable area. That service road to the west, in my opinion, is not intended for the type of use that it's going to incur once this development goes in. And the 24-hour nature of the business is significantly different than the existing businesses around that professional office development. So for those reasons, I'm not inclined to vote in favor of this application.
Commissioner Hooper?
I echo everything that Commissioner Cole said. I think Mike's a great guy. I just don't think it's the right thing for this area. And as somebody who lives in a neighborhood similar to yours with a lot of property around it that's open, I'd be furious if I knew this was coming. I would be over there with you guys. I would be doing the exact same thing. So I commend you guys for coming out, for showing up, and for doing what you want to do, what's best for your community. And I do appreciate that. I myself, after looking at everything and really pondering this, going through the neighborhood and seeing the area, I'm inclined to vote no as well. And I support the community on this one.
Commissioner Nowakowski?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In my time on the Planning Commission, I have not been, I haven't heard this kind of testimony. A lot of fear being projected to us to sway our vote. And the one comment tonight I want to mention, and I just want to caution, when I heard different demographic from what is in my area at a school from a teacher, you know, my kids go to school probably of that different demographic. It's a great school, great kids. Just beware of language and how it can be interpreted. So that's all I got to say is the crime element didn't sway my vote. What was when someone said it's just out of place, not the right fit. You know, that was the argument. The fear of crime, sex trafficking, prostitution wasn't it for me, but the fit. And I'm a neighborhood first person on this commission, so I understand you, but just caution yourselves when it sounds like we don't want those kids of a different demographic in my neighborhood. Just caution yourself. Thank you.
Well,
Chairman.
Vice Chair Nyberg.
I agree with the comments that have been made in the last few minutes as the reason that I have concerns about this request. And it was asked a little bit earlier, but I made 3 trips to that piece of property, got out of the car and walked that property twice, and the presentations in tonight's meeting and in 3 weeks ago, the presentations were nice. The pictures of the facility look nice. But when I think about that property and when I think about the development in that property, the hotel doesn't match what's developed there. I didn't see any other 3-story buildings. I didn't see any other facility like that. I saw doctor's offices and dental offices and professional offices. There's a property management company there. There's some realtors there. There's a lot of office facilities there. They're single-story. They operate Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Maybe somebody goes to the office on the weekend, but they're not 3-story hotels. And I appreciate your interest in the city of Glendale. I appreciate your interest in developing business here. I just think in that particular location, at 1.9 acres, I think is inappropriate use of that land in that development. So that's why I am opposed to the request. Thank you.
Well, I have wrestled with this since it came up, and I have been here my whole life. I grew up in Glendale, so to say I'm not interested in the best for Glendale is an understatement. I was inclined to approve this because it's 400 feet away from the nearest backyard, and it's buffered with the IRS building. And I've struggled with this, and I went by there this afternoon again, and this evening, I'm going to have to agree with Vice Chair and a couple of the other guys. Mike has got a great project, nice guy. He's done everything. He's been over backwards to try to accommodate. But as the Vice Chair said, tonight, I think it's just, there's something there that just, I don't know, it just kind of doesn't fit that spot. Would love to have Mike's development in Glendale, but I just don't know that that's the right place for it. But anyway, this has been a tough one for me, I got to tell you. It's just has not been an easy one. So, Commissioners, anything else? Okay, I'm going to call for a vote. Commissioner Crowe,
Aye.
Commissioner Cole,
Aye.
Vice Chair Nyberg,
Aye.
Commissioner Nowakowski.
Aye.
Commissioner Hooper.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. CUP 23-04 has been recommended for denial. Mr. Gruber, what are the next steps in the process?
Chair, members of the commission, your action with respect to CUP number 23-04 is final, subject to a written appeal received within 15 days.
Okay, Ms. Perry, is there any other business this evening?
Chairperson Crowe, Commissioner, there's none.
Are there any planning or staff reports?
There are none.
Commissioners, any comments? Commissioner Hooper?
Being that it's denied, it's not going to go to the city council, is it?
Yes.
Keep in mind, we are an advisory board. City council could still approve this. Follow this. Make sure you show up to those meetings. Make sure that you tell them how you feel, like you compelled us. Thank you.
Okay, the next regular meeting of the Planning Commission will be held on September 28th, 2023 at 6 p.m. at the Glendale Civic Center, which is here. If there is no further business, I will now entertain a motion to adjourn. I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned.
What's that? Oh, buddy, it's hard.
I don't.
No,
But I will.
no better place to have one. What you want on the resident real estate. You get all the that have flood, fire, temporary, whatever, even domestic use. This. And you want them to have a good, not, I think this is, that's the way and I lived in that, you know? In fact, I'm one of the ones.
See, I gotta be ready.
I try to sell.
Oh, yeah. You did a good job.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah. But I just mean,
Well, you know what?
I invested a lot of money there.
It's, again, I've said
Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. I don't think about that too often, but you're right.
They are.
I told Vern, if the city approves it,
well,